And shares of Apple down around 8% in after-hours trading. All right, let's get more on these tech earnings with Katie Roof. She's the senior writer at TechCrunch, joining us live from San Francisco. Katie, good to see you.
Good to see you, Michelle.
So, Katie, Apple reporting its first quarterly sales drop since 2003. A big reason for Apple's miss is China. Sales in China down 26% year over year. Why, Katie? What is going on there?
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of competition in China with Xiaomi and some other companies there that are offering lower price competitors. In the US, they've also had some issues as well. Basically, they're finding that not everyone feels the need to upgrade to the new iPhone.
Well, the Chinese smartphone market, while slowing down, is still growing. Chinese brands are selling 125 million devices in the first quarter. So are iPhones just priced too high to be competitive in emerging markets?
That may be true. They did try. They had the iPhone 5C in recent years, but there's just so much competition overseas. It looks like that consumers aren't finding that there's enough of a reason to either upgrade to the new iPhone or to switch from whatever other device they were using. There have been concerns that under CEO Tim Cook's leadership that it's really just been more of the same with Apple, that they keep building upon the iPhone, but they haven't really done something exciting and radical. There's been the Apple Watch, but they still haven't released how many sales they've had there. They clearly aren't widespread in the United States just yet. And a bright spot for Apple was Apple Music, though, which they say has 13 million users. That's the new service that they have competing with Spotify.
Katie, you were touching on the point of innovation. Nothing new coming out of Apple for a while, and that's always been the concern in the post-Steve Jobs era. That sentiment reflected by billionaire Chinese entrepreneur Jia Yuting. He was speaking on CNBC. He says Apple is outdated and has not been innovating. Is this the biggest concern for Apple? Why are they struggling to innovate?
Yeah, that's definitely been a concern for a while, although we hadn't actually seen a decline in iPhone sales year over year until today. They have sold 51 million compared to 61 million in the same period last year. So for a while, it just seemed like nothing could stop Apple, that users were loyal to the iPhone and that they would keep upgrading. But clearly, competition from Android and others has made it difficult, and maybe the larger screens weren't quite the hit they expected. They recently released the iPhone SE, the small iPhone, so maybe they realized that not everyone wants a bigger phone.
Katie, you mentioned the Apple Watch. That's doing well, 30% growth in revenue from the so-called other categories, including Apple Music, to your point. Where are Apple's growth areas coming from in the future? Do you think it'll be from these new subsidiary products?
I think they are probably going to release a much better Apple Watch this fall, and then we could see some growth there. A lot of people were hesitant to buy the first Apple Watch. I think if it stops being tethered to your phone, if you could actually just wear the device without having to bring your phone with you, that may help it gain popularity. And of course, if they continue to make it more stylish. But iPhone is such a huge portion of their business. They really, really need to make sure that the next iPhone is a hit. Otherwise, you're going to continue to see investors disappointed.
Katie, let's touch on Twitter earnings quickly. Some mixed results there. Revenue coming in lighter than Wall Street forecasts. User growth still weak. What's your take?
Yeah, they have seen significant revenue growth, but it's missing the bar in terms of analyst expectations. And as we all know, that's how the stock moves. They also provided weak guidance with revenue expectations that disappointed Wall Street. And the key here is that while Twitter did add some new users, it's not very many. They've added very little. They've had very little growth in the past year. Originally, they were valued relative to Facebook. Investors were expecting they were going to be the next Facebook, but Facebook has 1.6 billion, almost 1.6 billion users, and Twitter has 310 million. So Facebook's really 5 times bigger, and they're just really not growing at the same pace. There's also been concern that CEO Jack Dorsey shouldn't be running 2 public companies at the same time. He has his hands tied with Square, so there's been a lot of concern there, and there have been a lot of executive departures and controversy over whether or not that's been the right move for Twitter.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you, as always, Katie Roof, senior writer at TechCrunch.